deprives children of the opportunity to have the calcium that they need. I think that this bill would end up labeling worthwhile foods like yogurts, cheeses, potatoes, smoothings, and other products as somehow being detrimental to health, and therefore will set the effort back. In order to truly tackle the long-term challenges with appropriate child nutrition, I've long supported programs at the CDC and NIH that seek to tackle the issue of obesity in youth, as well as the study of ultra-processed foods, which I support. Therefore, I will oppose this bill.
Mr. Chairman, if I might.
Senator Sanders.
Well, let me be very clear. The definition of ultra-processed food in this bill excludes products that meet FDA's definition of healthy, which must include a key food group recommended by the Dietary guidelines. This includes dairy, vegetables, fruits, whole grains, and proteins. This legislation does not require warning labels on dairy products like natural cheese or milk. We're willing to continue working with officers to improve this definition, but that is the simple reality of what's in this bill.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Marshall.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and I feel desperate. This childhood obesity epidemic is for real. I was trying to look up the numbers. I couldn't find them off the top of my head, but America's on this seafood diet, seafood and eat it. Generally speaking, I'd like to do less rather than more when it comes from regulatory process, but I'm going to support Senator Sanders' bill here. It's not perfect, but sometimes we have to do something. And this is the most significant something I can see. Senator Sanders mentions we spend 2, 3, 4 times more than other countries do. Well, one of the reasons is we're sick. We have a very sick country, and it starts with this childhood epidemic that we have, and sugary drinks are a big part of the calorie intake as well. I think that this is it's a good first step, and we have more work to do. We have to take care of the grass loopholes and several other things that just aren't quite ready for prime time, but I think this is a step in the right direction, and we're going to support Senator Sanders' bill. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to make a comment before we go to amendments? Okay, do any members wish to offer an amendment? Senator Paul.
This is Paul, Amendment 2. You know, I applaud the attentions and intentions of those who are concerned about childhood obesity and diabetes. It absolutely is a problem. Sort of an ironic problem that the problem in a capitalist society is too much food, but that's a problem we have, and too much of the wrong food. I don't know that labeling will do anything. I share sort of the desperation that we should do something, but there actually is something we could do. We subsidize the wrong food. We give people food stamps. A significant percentage of our country gets food stamps, and the number one item on food stamps is Coca-Cola, Pepsi, soft drinks. Number 4 on the list is bagged snacks. Number 11 is candy. Believe it or not, you can not just get an individual candy bar, you can get a bag of candy on food stamps. Cookies are on the top 20 list, ding-dongs, Twinkies. And so if we were really serious about this, we just wouldn't subsidize bad food. My amendment wouldn't change the amount. We'd still have the same amount of food stamp money. Not one person will get less money. They'd have more money for healthy food. My amendment would simply say that there'll be a formulary, and candy won't be on the formulary anymore. Sugared soda won't be on the formulary anymore. This is not unprecedented. WIC program already does this. We looked at using the WIC formula, but we didn't think it was expansive enough with protein and things like that. I don't know why they decided pregnant women didn't need protein, but I think meat is not on the WIC program. But anyway, food stamps, there'd still be thousands of items that people could buy. And inevitably, they would be shifted. And I think you'd see a real change in childhood obesity within a year or two of this. I really think it can be a bipartisan issue. It hasn't been so far, but I hope both sides of the aisle will consider this. This has real teeth in it, doesn't reduce food stamps. All it does is said the unhealthy foods that have been referred to so far would not be paid for by the taxpayer.
Senator Sanders.
I do understand where Senator Paul is coming from, but I disagree with him. Obviously, our goal is to encourage folks in our country to eat better, and that is why we're having these warning labels, because I suspect that many parents may not know just how much sugar there is in the various products their kids eat. The problem, I think, with Senator Paul's amendment is, you got a low-income kid, he's with his friends, and suddenly we're saying to that kid, because you're poor and you're on food stamps, you can't do what your other friends are doing. And we're stigmatizing these kids. So the goal, of course, Senator Paul, is to get people on food stamps, and every American, to try to eat better, to educate people about what's in the process, in the foods that they eat. But I think this is simply stigmatizing low-income folks who are on food stamps. So I would oppose this amendment.
Senator Chair.
Both arguments are really good arguments, and I've really grappled with this one, and I've tended to be on Senator Sanders' side of this, but I'm going to go with Senator Marshall. Desperate times require that we push this farther. Senator Paul has been advocating for this for some time, and I think the time has come to take that step, and I view that step as consistent with the legislation that I'm going to support.
Anyone else wish to comment on the amendment?
Mr. Chairman, so just really quickly, so I agree with both the senators, and it is a tough call. It's absolutely a tough call on what to do here. But I am proud of what else we've done up here. We've tried to reward good behavior with food stamps. We've tried to what we call double up bucks. If you're making good, healthy choices, working with grocery stores, and trying to reward good behavior. Eventually, we need to figure a way to incorporate Senator Paul's goal here as well. But I am concerned that it would strike. I don't think we'd have the votes to get the big bill, Senator Sanders' bill, across the finish line if it passes. So I'm truly torn on what to do here. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak to this? This amendment would add a policy to the bill that falls outside of our committee's jurisdiction. By the way, I agree with the concept. And I agree desperate times call for desperate measures. And I actually spoke to this when I was in the Ag Committee when I was in the House of Representatives. But before proceeding on this amendment, we need to consult with the Ag Committee to understand their equities and receive technical feedback. Therefore, I'll be supporting a motion to table this policy, although again, I agree with Paul. But nonetheless, for jurisdictional issues, I will make a motion to table the amendment. The clerk shall call the roll.
Mr. Chairman, one more thing I forgot. I believe states have the ability to do this already. Thank you.
The clerk shall call the roll.
Senator Paul?
No.
Senator Collins?
I'm sorry.
No is to oppose tabling, yes is to table.